Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So there's a lot of discussion going on about what's Earl Spence to do if he defeats Ugas, what's Ugas to do if he defeats Earl Spence. And people are saying a lot of stuff. I don't think anybody really knows. But from what I gather, it looks like Earl Spence, his goal is to become undisputed. But it's not that easy to become undisputed because nobody really knows what's going on with Terrence Crawford. It's been rumored that he's signing with PBC for a couple fights, a few fights. You get paid, millions of dollars. 10 to 15. Not so sure if that's true. There's been rumors that he still hasn't sorted out who's going to promote him, if he's going to go independent, if he's going to look to hook up with Eddie Hearn or, hook up with PBC or try to figure something back out with Top Rank. I personally think Top Rank is dead in the water. I think Eddie Hearn has come. I know Eddie Hearn has gone on record and said he doesn't want to touch Terrence Crawford. He said Terrence Crawford is an exceptional talent, but there's no money there. He's not even going to waste his time with Terrence Crawford. So there goes that. And then there's PBC. Now, the optimal choice to me is for Terrence Crawford to sign with PBC. He can get all the fights he wants from 140, 147 to 154. No problem. All the fights are there. But the issue is, what's he going to do? So with Earl Spence winning, realistically, he would need some time off, of course, and he would be looking to fight before the end of the year. He just doesn't have time to wait on Terrence Crawford. So Earl Spence has said if no Terrence Crawford, he wants to go up to 154. And I believe he would do that. I just don't think he's going to jump the gun and do it because he's on PBC, he's with Al Heyman. And the problem he's going to run into is, he says he's his own boss. And I think he has a lot of flexibility. But if PBC was to push for Earl Spence to fight Keith Thurman, I think that fight would happen because Keith Thurman gave up a belt that everybody had to fight for. And as a result, fellas became champions. And his thing is, no one's defeated me for those belts. Now, he fought Pacquiao, and it is what it is. Pacquiao defeated him. But when you look at a fight that's easy to make, for Earl Spence, the Keith Thurman fight is a fight that still piques a lot of interest. It can generate big pay-per-view sales, and there's something there. There's some history between Spence and Thurman. So that to me is the logical fight to make, and it's rumored that that's the fight that's more than likely going to happen next if for some reason the Crawford fight can't come off. Because one, is they're both underneath Al Heyman with PBC. Two, Keith Thurman had the belt at a time, and he really hasn't been beaten for anything. And then three, when it comes to Keith Thurman, he's not the same. So it should be an easy win for Earl Spence, especially with the body attack he has, and now the whole world knows that Keith Thurman, his stomach is as weak as Amir Khan's chin. So Amir Khan, as we say, chinny. I don't know what we say about Thurman. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something clever to say about somebody with a weak stomach. But Keith Thurman can't take body shots. Earl Spence would just, I think, annihilate him. But if for some reason that fight doesn't sort itself out, you gotta look at Pacquiao. Pacquiao is out in the Philippines. Everyone over here in the States who doesn't know a damn thing about the Philippines and Philippine politics thinks that Pacquiao is gonna go and become the president. Let me tell you something. Pacquiao had like a 20% popular vote. 80% was with the current president. They don't want Pacquiao as a president. Everyone needs a politician. When they were asking questions to Pacquiao about certain issues in the Philippines and his opinion how he would fix certain things, Pacquiao couldn't answer the questions. also in the Philippines are very big on speaking English, and Pacquiao struggled to answer all the questions in English. So the thing is, Pacquiao's popularity got him put into the Senate, but his work hasn't been enough for the people to say with confidence he can lead this country. Majority of the time that Pacquiao was in the Senate, Pacquiao spent preparing for boxing matches. It wasn't his full-time job. And to go on to become the president of the Philippines, you have to be committed. You have to be familiar on a lot of different issues. You have to be able to intelligently articulate your thoughts in English as well. And this is my understanding. And this is talking to some of my buddies who are from the Philippines, and they were laughing about it, and they were saying he doesn't know a damn thing about politics because he spent all his time boxing. And they're saying he will never become the president of the Philippines. He can remain in politics, but the president never, because the people of the Philippines need someone who can be an effective politician, can be iron-fisted when necessary, try their best to eliminate the corruption and make the Philippines a better place, improve the quality of living and life for people in the Philippines, especially those living in poverty. And they feel Pacquiao has a good heart, the right intentions, but he just doesn't have the knowledge to make any of that happen. So as a result, is a chance that Pacquiao would want to fight the winner of Ugas and Spence. Now, if Spence wins, that would be great. I can't see why Spence wouldn't take that challenge, because then he'll have his opportunity to fight a legend of the sport. So Pacquiao is still an option if Spence beats Ugas. So right now, it doesn't look like he's going to beat Crawford. That sounds like what his goal is, but the realistic pick is more Thurman. And then Pacquiao on the back burner could be another option, especially if he's not going to get into the president's seat, and if he still has a desire to try to come back and fight. And then the other option would be Charlo. It's up at 154. But according to Derek James, doesn't even want to talk about it, doesn't want to entertain it, because then he has to pick and choose. But and that's all good. We understand that, and we can understand why he doesn't want to think about it, why he doesn't want them to fight. But if Earl Spence says, you know what, I can't get the Crawford fight, I don't want to fight Thurman, I don't want to fight Pacquiao. I fought Porter, I fought Garcia. I don't want to fight an Ennis, a Staniotis, any of these other 147-pound fighters. I want to go up to 154 because I'm killing myself to get down to 147. Well, then he goes up to 154. Who does he fight? We already talked about Jermell. Then you got Brian Castano. What a fight that would be if Earl Spence was to unify and get a third belt as a welterweight. They make an exception, allow him to go up and fight Castano if Castano beats Jermell for the undisputed title at junior middleweight. Wouldn't that be crazy? And then he beats Castano. Now, some people say, how in the world can you arrive at that idea? Because Castano brags about beating Earl Spence as an amateur. That's why. That's a fight to be made. That's an easy fight to be made. Earl Spence can easily leapfrog everybody and get that fight with Castano, because Earl Spence has a solid resume, and he has, from an amateur to a pro, he'll be coming in as just 7-pound difference in weight, and he's really naturally more 154, 160 pounder, and he's a unified champion. That would be a fight to make, probably at 154, and I can see that fight happening. But if not Castano, we talked about Jermell, more than likely that won't happen. Then there's Fundora. Good fight to make there too. Fundora is about, 10 feet tall. He just cracked Lubin, embarrassed Lubin, rearranged his face. But I think Earl Spence, he's not Lubin, and Earl Spence would fight smart, and I think Earl Spence would definitely tear up that long body of his, and it could be a fight to be made. But what does Fundora bring to the table? He's an uppercomer still. And there's Tim Zhu, who no one knows him over here, so that wouldn't happen. Erickson Lubin just lost, so that wouldn't happen. Tony Harrison, Jermell fought him, so if he went up and fought Tony Harrison, that would be a good fight, but he's not just going to waste his time fighting at 154. Then you have Israel Madrimov, Magomed Kurbanov, Liam Smith, and Michael Soro. Some of those names you probably never heard of. But when you look at Earl Spence and what he's going to do if he clips Ugas, he has some options. But out of all those names we talked about, 154 staying at welterweight, the optimal choice, in my opinion, if you can't get Crawford, is give Keith Thurman a shot. And that is what I think is going to end up happening. Folks, don't be shocked if that happens. Earl Spence doesn't want to give him a shot. But I think Al Heyman, PBC, it's showtime, but they push for it. That fight will happen. Because Keith Thurman wants it. Keith Thurman is so miserable right now because he's watching everything that's happening and saying, damn, that should be me. But, he did what he did, man. He settled down, a beautiful family now, and he shouldn't have any regrets. But Keith Thurman wants that fight, and he's going to start becoming more and more vocal, and I think Keith Thurman is going to talk his way into the fight with a little bit of help from Al Heyman, PBC, and Showtime. But we'll see what happens. That's if Earl Spence was to win. But people don't count on Spence and Crawford fighting, especially this year. Like, you got to be real about this. Why would they push Young like 4 times? It's the afternoon. It's like 5 o'clock. Man, but I got up early this morning, took my son's AAU basketball. So I'm a little tired, but I got to make these videos. Anyway, but until they figure out what's going on with Terrence Crawford, I mean, you can't plan an undisputed showdown. Like, that takes planning. That's something that they should start planning, like, immediately after the fight tonight. Terrence Crawford should be getting in the ring, and they should already kind of cemented some dates and times, and that's when they start to promote the fight and announce it. And that's not going to happen because there is nothing in the works. So that being said, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. But I just don't see Earl Spence, if he wins the fight, there's really nothing for him to do except pick up Pacquiao if he decides to come back, because Pacquiao's not going to become the president of the Philippines. Or get at Keith Thurman. Everybody all the top welterweights have fought. Thurman has not fought Crawford. Danny Garcia has not fought Crawford. Porter fought everybody. But Garcia fought Porter, Garcia fought Spence, Garcia fought Thurman. Thurman fought Porter, Thurman fought Garcia. He hasn't fought Spencer or Crawford. The only one who got busy with everybody is Porter, and he's retired. So Earl Spence, this is his chance to get a fight with the top welterweight. He's not the big dog anymore, but he once was, and it can keep him busy. That way, once Crawford sorts his stuff out, then he can get a fight. Because it's not uncommon for Crawford to not fight for a year. Like, that's been the norm with Crawford. But we'll see what's going to develop. As I said, none of this stuff is guaranteed. But do not, don't count on Spence and Crawford happening. I just don't see it. Especially if Spence gets all 3 belts. He deserves a lion's share. That's not going to be a 50-50 fight. And Crawford feels he deserves to have that because he was the undisputed champion at 140 pounds. But, okay, we get it. But since he moved to a welterweight, who has he fought? So he needs those big fights. And he got Porter out the way, and he stopped him. But Porter's been through some more, so you could say he didn't get a fresh Porter. But Crawford needs to get a couple more big names under his belt. And if he doesn't fight Earl Spence, then there's something obviously wrong with Crawford. And why not go to unify the division? But we'll see what happens, man. But that being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. More to come when it comes to the welterweight kind of round robin. Shout out to all the veterans, and as always, I'm in the breeze.